Welcome to Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, the go-to source for SMEs navigating today's business landscape. I'm your host SK, diving into topics like outsourcing, entrepreneurial spirit, and transformative success stories in talent acquisition. In this episode, we are joined by Paul Drake Verge, a Ukrainian immigrant and entrepreneur force behind Talent Trellis, revolutionizing talent acquisition with co-founders Hamza, Baig and Daniyal Saleem. From sales to innovation, Paul's journey highlights ambition, innovation, and the impact of transcending boundaries in business. Let's dive in. Good afternoon, Paul. Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me.
It's truly an honor to have you to share your journey with us today. Let's discuss about your early days. From your early days leading to the Talent Trellis and hosting the Talent Talks podcast, your path has been one of the resilience and strategic innovation and profound impact. Everyone, we are eager to dive into your experiences and insights on navigating the challenges and triumphs of entrepreneurship. As everyone knows, every small business starts with a vision and a moment of inspiration. Could you share the origin story of Talent Trellis? Like, what sparked the idea, and how did you and your other co-founders, Hamza Baig and Daniyal Saleem, bring this vision to life?
For sure. So I remember that always as a child, I always wanted to start my own thing, start my own business. I always wanted to kind of have freedom over my own time. So even at a young age, I was going out and I was going door to door and selling. Like my mom used to buy me puzzles. So I used to sell the puzzles after I'm done with them, or go and shovel snow. So the stages for my entrepreneurial journey were already set. But what happened basically was, before university, I went tree planting. So for 3 months, all my friends, instead of going and getting an internship and at a finance company like everyone else did, I decided I'm going to go plant trees for 9 months.
Okay.
And I think it was very, very important because I used to be like a lot more emotional. And so that really helped me to kind of quell and quench my emotions. And then after university, I had no experience. So I thought, okay, how can I get some experience? And my brother, Kyle, he actually has a company called Push Media. They're a full service digital marketing agency. So I thought, hey, let me work for you for free and kind of get the skills required to get my own job. To get the experience,
Yeah.
right? But when I was always there, like, it always felt a little bit off. It always felt a little bit wrong. Great company, learned a lot, but I always knew that I wanted to go on my own way. So I started really like searching for different avenues. And what I ended up doing originally was, I saw that there was this guy named Corey Stout, shout out Corey Stout. He was making $4 million revenue per year just selling wood sunglasses. They're called Woodies on Amazon. And I thought I could do that. So eventually what I thought was, why not a wood brim hat, like a cap boat? And actually I have it somewhere here. I don't know. It's actually over there. So I thought, okay, like let me go and construct this own product, because I didn't want to do drop shipping. I don't want to compete with anyone, because I want
to create your own,
my own thing, blue ocean strategy. Little did I know how hard it is to actually curve wood and manufacturing and dealing with different suppliers, and how long that it would take. Fast forward to about 1.5 years ago, I'm about to leave. I moved out of my parents' home and I moved in with a couple of my friends, and I'm still working at Kyle's at Push Media. And I remember one time me and Hamza were sitting around a fire, and he was like, Paul, like, I can't do this anymore. He was at CIBC. He's like, I can't do this anymore. I need to have my own thing. He was also very entrepreneurial, and I was sitting there, but I still had the hats on the side. And I'm like, good. But the thing is, my order was coming from China, and it was going to take like 6 or 7 months, because by boat, it was the middle of COVID. So we're like, why don't we start something? And I'm like, let's do it. So we started out doing something called Vibe Media, because I already have an experience within digital marketing working on Kyle's side, and he had experience on the finance side. So we're like, okay, let's do it. So we're going door to door, knocking on doors, trying to get business. Anyone pulled away, turned away. No.
I think that is the best experience anyone can have, door-to-door sales. Right?
Exactly. And, we're a little bit defeated at this point. And then I remember distinctly, it all kind of happened for a reason, because I was supposed to meet this girl named Taylor Lindsay Newell. She owned Cup of Tea. She was like a very, very inspiring entrepreneur as well. And she was we were supposed to meet, but then something happened and we had to cancel. And then Hamza, after a day of defeating, he comes to me and he says, "Hey, why not, instead of trying to sell ourselves who are unproven, why don't we try to sell the qualifications of people?" Because he already had Daniyal, who's his good friend back in Pakistan, and Daniyal is also a serial entrepreneur. So through Daniyal's connections, because he had a travel agency, he had a manufacturing company, so he had to get all the right connections, and he had to be really good with people as it is. So we, instead of selling our services, we were selling the person who already has expertise in the service. So that night, turns out that, so as soon as Hamza said that, I was like, yes, this is it. And that night I had a meeting with Taylor. We were talking about everything, spirituality, business, and she just really needed help. I asked her one question. I was like, what do you hate doing? And email marketing, she hated doing. So this is something we always ask our clients, because the thing that you hate doing actually takes away so much more mental energy from you, that just by getting rid of it, you free up this energy to be able to actually focus on more important things. So that night we had our first client, and basically we never looked back. And then we just started going from there. And then we quit. We actually ended up quitting our jobs in June. But it was like, so what happened was, it was June. I couldn't really do the job anymore, but I had no real savings. I had about $15,000 saved, and I didn't have enough to pay myself at this point. But I'm like, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I end up in a tent? No big deal. So I quit, and I basically lived with my savings because we believed that we could do it. And then shortly after, Hamza quit, and then here we are.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And when you started that talent trellis, what were some of the initial challenges you and your team have faced, and how did you overcome them?
So the way that I see entrepreneurship is very hard, because it's a never-ending reflection in every way that you suck.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, if your team isn't performing, you're a bad leader. I believe there's no such thing as bad teams, bad leaders. If people aren't understanding your instructions, you're a bad communicator. If you're bad at not getting clients, you're bad at sales. So it's a real wake-up call, and you really have to, as crazy as it sounds, it's not really the tactics, or it's not really the, like, all the books that will get you there. It's going within and really processing and creating order within yourself, because that order within yourself will then extend into your business. So I think in the beginning, some of the main challenges were me, Hamza, and Daniyal were clashing a little bit, because we have very different backgrounds, which is great, because you don't want someone to agree with you. So that's another reason we always get along. Well, we didn't really get along, but we always know that if we're going to say something to someone, it's going to get challenged, and and you better back it up. So that kind of created some good unity between us. But some of the early challenges it was just client acquisition. How do we get new clients? How do we sell the idea? Because there's still a bit of a stigma around how people perceive Pakistan and what people think it is. People still think it's a third world country, but in fact, it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, the people there are amazing. They're super, super hospitable. They really take care of one another, and they're very well adapted as it is here. Like, it's the technology is great. The people are so smart. And then actually another reason that Pakistan we chose specifically was because around 64% of the population is under 30. So it's a very, very young working age population. In addition to this, they also have a very strong work ethic, and a lot of them went through the British education system. So their English is impeccable, and they are exposed to Western culture.
And what I've experienced working with Pakistan is, like, they are very talented and very creative.
Extremely talented, extremely creative, extremely loyal. One of the challenges was, though, the culture shock, because it's very different. It's a little bit different here than it is in Pakistan. In Pakistan, people are paid by monthly, right? And here there's contractors, there's this kind of thing. So that doesn't really exist. So we really had to find a way to bridge the gap between the expectations of the Pakistani workforce and of Canadians. Another reason that we really started this was because Hamza, he left Pakistan to come to Canada, being sold the dream of a better life, of more money. And when he came here, he realized that it's still the fact that the living expenses are very, very expensive. So even though you're making more money, your life isn't as great per se. So another reason he really wanted to start this was because he really wanted to give people in Pakistan the opportunity to work with North American companies, but they didn't have to travel so far and be away from their families. As you know, in the Pakistani or maybe even the Indian culture, the family is very, very important and very close and very connected. and they're always on the phone talking to each other,
Right.
and I guess that's hard. So having that best of both worlds is great.
Right. And what is your key piece of advice, Paul, to someone who is right now doing a job and they want to start their own business? Like, what do you advise them?
I would advise them, and actually, this is a piece of advice that I learned just today, because I was just today over at Hush headquarters interviewing Aaron Spevin. He told me something to stay with me, and there was a different way to say it, but the way I like it is, and the way he explained to me is, you got to believe in the end of the story. So for entrepreneurship, you have to be okay with sucking all the time. You have to be okay with being hit on the ground all the time. And but the driving force has to be freedom. So if your driving force in your life is security, entrepreneurship is probably not for you. If your driving force in your life is freedom and you're willing to risk everything to do it, I think it is for you. And I would say the most valuable things for entrepreneurs in terms of how to grow isn't per se going, reading the books, doing the seminars. It's actually working on yourself, like realizing where are you feeling guilty, where are you feeling angry, where are you feeling shameful. Because I consider it's like a hot air balloon. Like when you're on a hot air balloon, the fire of it represents your will. And even if you're bogged down by heavy emotions, you can use your will and the balloon will rise. But it's a finite resource and it'll come right back down when you're burnt out. So you have to release all these sandbags to be able to float up.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that advice. After listening to your story, your journey to establish Talent Trellis is inspiring, highlighting the importance of vision, teamwork, and the resilience in the entrepreneurial world. Listeners, today's conversation illuminates the transformative power of strategic vision and partnership in the entrepreneurial world. As Paul and his co-founders at Talent Trellis have shown, the journey of entrepreneurship is enriched by the alliances we form and the collective vision we share. Whether you are embarking on a new venture or steering your current business towards new horizons, remember the strength found in collaboration. Now let's discuss about the why did you choose Pakistan as an important point? Geographical decisions can significantly impact or influence a company's trajectory. Why did Talent Trellis choose Pakistan as its starting point for outsourcing, and what opportunities do you see in this market?
For sure. So we did take a look at, we didn't just because our partners are in Pakistan doesn't mean we just specifically went there. So we kind of tried a little bit all over. We tried some different countries, but what we found was, like I mentioned earlier, the crossroads between a young working age population, the access to the British education system, as well as the willingness and the work ethic is why we chose Pakistan. And another reason is that we know the culture, we know the people, and we have Daniyal over there. So one of the
I think that was the biggest advantage.
that was the biggest advantage,
Right.
because one of the biggest challenges that outsourcing companies are having is, like, North American companies don't trust you. You're not here. So if you're calling them, like, how do I know that you're around out in the world? How do I know I can trust you? How do I know you're going to show up on time? How do I know that I can speak to you properly? How do I know you're going to work on my time zone? You really don't. It's a big risk. So the fact that we have me here and Daniyal and Hamza actually is over there right now to manage operations is an absolutely huge advantage. Another thing in which way we are different is that we do have an office over there. So a lot of these outsourcing companies, they're just kind of middlemen. So what they'll do is they'll put out job descriptions or job postings, and they'll get people to apply and get them, but they're still remote. So there's no bit of like cohesion and unity. So what we found that the ideal work scenario for productivity is about a hybrid solution. So we do have an office in Pakistan where people's employees come and they work for about 2 or 3 days out of the week, and that helps foster community and engagement. And another thing that a lot of people don't think about with their virtual workforce is these are people too. They want culture, they want fun, they want to enjoy what they're doing. So a part of our offer too is, and at no extra cost to the client, we help with retention, because we go and we take them out. We have game nights. We even ask our clients to record videos of them talking to their employees, and we show them, and we put them back and we send them back to them. So it's much more warm, close to the heart, and I think that's one of our biggest advantages.
And Paul, can you tell me what kind of core services Talent Trellis provides to other companies?
Yeah, for sure. So the easiest way to describe it would be that we help North American businesses grow, and Europe, and also in Australia. We help them grow by building teams and sourcing talent in internationally at great rates. But the one thing that we do is we are a little bit more, I would say, premium than some of the other outsourcing companies, specifically because we only work with a talent, and I'll tell you why. So I know everyone says they work with a talent, but the thing is, we try to overpay our people. We try to pay them about 25% more than what the market is offering, and that's because an A player will cost 25% more, but the output is 5 times more. And there's something called the virtuous cycle of price. So it's actually not beneficial to our clients if we charge them less, because if we charge them less, they're less emotionally invested. They care less. They perceive the service as more valuable. And then
What you pay, what you get, right?
what you pay, what you get. And then we don't have the resources to be able to support them on the front end to be able to deliver the wonderful service. Another which way, and then we're different, and this is one of our new core offerings, is that our offer is we're going to partner with about maybe five agencies per quarter, digital marketing agencies. And they have a big problem in terms of talent and retention and onboarding, and it's quite difficult for them. I know because I worked for our company. So our offer is we're going to not only source, hire the talent, we're also going to create an onboarding, work with the business owner to create an entire set of onboarding, whether that be videos, PDFs that we can then use for any other employee that they choose to come on, and then we will take on all their training for them. And then we also have it in place how to manage them, how to retain them, and then we'll also create a pipeline to help scale them. So say down the line they need video editors, say down the line they need software developers, we'll already start the process of sourcing those people. So it's a bit of a full-scale partnership and solution. And the reason that we're only going to work with about 5 agencies per quarter is because we put a lot of time and effort into our clients, and we really want the best for them. And about 2 clients every month we found is the best way to provide the absolute most value for them.
Okay. And what is your suggestions or like, your opinion, like for any small business owner or any organization who want to start outsourcing their services? Like what are the key things they should look for in any agency before selecting a outsourcing?
So a couple of things. First of all, I would say you definitely want them to have a location both domestically and over there and in whatever country they are. That's very, very important. The second thing is you definitely want to make sure that they have they have really, really great customer support, and you want to make sure they answer you within 3 to 5 minutes, and they don't just delegate customer support to the actual employee. So what we do is we have a group with our specific clients where anything they need, we answer them right away, and we also do check-ins and all this kind of thing. So that, and you also want to do a guarantee. So you want to make sure that they have a guarantee. So we guarantee for our clients that if your employee isn't hitting the KPIs that we've set out together, we will cover the entire cost of their salary, their training, or their replacement costs until they're 100% satisfied. So you definitely want a guarantee like that. And you also want to make sure that they can work within your time zone, and that they are, I would say for me, it is important that they do have an office space to go to. However, that's not exactly necessary.
Right. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. Now, like, can you tell us, like, how does your company Talent Trellis distinguish itself from other companies in the outsourcing space?
Yeah, for sure. So because we offer a more of a full service solution, our offer is quite differentiated. A lot of different services, what they offer is like they'll just source the person, find the person, give you the person, and then they'll take a big recruitment cost up front, and then there it is, that's your employee. Whereas other people, what they'll do is they'll just give you the employee, but there's not a lot of support along the way, and you're kind of on your own. So the way that we're different is that we provide more of a full-scale, full offer solution. So we don't just work with anyone, not really just one-offs. We really want to partner with companies that are already established and who just want to grow their virtual workforce. So as most people only offer one person, 2 people for specific roles and try to grow them that way, we kind of get a little bit more involved and help the business owner consult them on how to make SOPs, because we also have a big SOP library that all our employees use, which is actually a huge benefit. And then not a lot of companies do the onboarding or the retention part or the scaling part. So that solution as a whole, I've never seen any company do. The onboarding, the scaling, the maintaining, the managing, and basically that I've never seen anyone else do that. So that part in of itself I believe, is very differentiated.
So your company also provide like part-time and full-time virtual as employees?
Yeah, so we only do basically part-time and full-time. Obviously, part-time it's a little bit more expensive per
And
hour
is there
than
any
full-time.
minimum requirement like
20 hours, yeah, 20 hours per year
20 hours per
requirement.
year?
Yeah, yeah. When we started out, we did do like 10 hours here, 10 hours there, but it's just simply not worth your time. And you also want to be fair to the employee, and you want to make sure that they have very consistent workflow, right? But the one thing that we are different too is like your VA or your digital marketer or your software developer only works for you. So there's no one else. They only work for you. And one of our clients, WAP, they're actually a technology company in the States. So I think they're on their Series B. And they're basically an Amazon, but for selling digital products. So I remember the reason we came up with this whole other service is because they needed a lot of chat support people to handle things on intercom, to handle things on that. And they were having a lot of trouble finding them. And also because they're a startup, they didn't really know how to onboard people, how to manage them, or how to retain them. So that's where like, oh, wait a second. This is something that no other company offers. So that's when we kind of started learning about, okay, how do we create an onboarding? How do we design it? How do we train the employees? How do we encourage them? How do we make sure they're having a good time? How do we manage the energy of the flow, and how do we have them more fun? And it worked out splendidly, right? WAP is growing, and we have a team of over 10 plus people for them right now. We have from email marketers all the way into a lot more chat support, and we're hoping to scale even further with them. So I think that part is really
And I
great
think
too.
it's easier for the businesses who are hiring the virtual assistants through professional companies, because they are not taking all the headache, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And because and what people don't realize is like if you're working with people get sick, people have to go to the hospital. All that, I hear this all the time. We hear it all the time. And as a business owner, your time is most useful working on the business, not in it. So if you're stuck trying to manage people, trying to see how do I evaluate them, try to see how to motivate them, it's really difficult, especially if they're across the sea, the great pond, as they say, right? So having someone on your back, having someone who knows the culture, having someone that knows them, having someone who's out there, has your back, who's supporting you, who's helping you set out these KPIs, who's helping you with all these different SOPs, who's helping you manage a timer effectively, that really is a huge benefit, because first of all, not only does a business owner learn, the productivity increases like crazy.
Right. Now, Paul, how do you maintain and ensure the quality of work amidst your rapid growth and scaling?
So, and this is something I mentioned earlier. It all stems from you. So it's, how do I say this specifically? Like, in order to take care of them, we have to take care of ourselves, which is why we're very careful. Like I have to be very careful with the emotions that I let in, with the people that I let into my sphere, because my sphere of influence will then affect every single one. So a lot of it is a lot of self-care, like making sure that I'm meditating, keeping my mind clear. A lot of it is making sure that I'm not having any grudges, because that will leak out into the team. Another thing is you have to lead by example. You can't expect speed and effort if you're not doing it. So a lot of it is people need to see that you're online, that you're working, that I'm there all the time. Another thing is you had to get absolutely really good at organization and management. So we use Notion, and it took us a while to get this going, but we built out this huge template about, everyone knows what they're doing, everyone knows where their tasks are. And one of the benefits of working with us is you get that template free of charge that you can then use to manage and scale your employees too.
Right.
Another thing I want to add about quality is people are people. They're humans. So a lot of it too is having extremely clear communication, which is a little bit difficult because I speak English, and a lot of them speak Urdu, but
Right.
having me, Hamza, and
Have you
Danny
learned
together,
Urdu or no?
not yet, but I'm going to,
Yeah.
for sure. So very clear communication, very clear instructions, and making it extremely clear and simple to people what it means to succeed.
Right.
So, and making them know exactly what the goal is, and if they hit it, they're good. If they're not, they're not, right? So it's communication is absolutely vital, and also checking in. Like whenever you have 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there before a meeting, check in with your employees. Hey, how are you? What's going on? How's your family? What's everything doing? Right? Because that's
These small things are very, very important. Right?
they're the most important, because once you have enough money where you're secure, then it doesn't really become such a motivating factor. It's like, am I respected? Do I feel good? How's my status in the workplace? Am I contributing to something bigger than myself, right?
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your thoughts on this one. Like your insights into maintaining quality and differentiating talent release in the market are invaluable for businesses who are looking to stand out. To our esteemed listeners, as we navigate through today's rich discussion with Paul, it's clear that entrepreneurship is not just about building businesses. It's about forging paths that connect worlds, ideas, and people. Let's take inspiration from Paul's journey and consider how our own businesses can impact not just our local communities, but also contribute to a global tapestry of innovation and collaboration. Now, let's discuss about the future of recruitment. As the recruitment industry is at the cusp of transformative change, where do you see the future of recruitment is heading, and how is your company, Talent Trellis, positioning itself to be at the forefront of this evolution?
So personally, and a lot of people would disagree with me, but I think that recruiters in general would be a thing of the past. So what I think is it would be a lot more based on vetting people through AI and blockchain technology. One of the toughest parts about recruiting is like, okay, even though I got a resume, even though I got references, is this guy really saying what I think he's saying? So I think that combining AI in such a way that it searches specific people in specific databases to have the skills they did, backed by blockchain technology, which can then basically really verify or track if a person has this achievement, did this within these organizations. I think combining those two things together on a platform where, for example, let's say, so the way that we're positioning ourselves is like we're thinking to build a platform, and we're getting started this work on this right now, where there's people apply, people set up all their information, and then it's like a two-way platform. So then when businesses want to find people, they simply look at exactly what they're looking for, and then on the back end they'll see fully vetted, fully trained, fully ready people to hire, and then they'll see like, so the AI will help search them out, and then the blockchain technology will verify that these people are indeed what they want to be. The reason we're doing it this way is because I think I have about a 5-thing matrix that I use when we hire people. One of them, and I don't know if I can remember them all right now, but one of them is, has this person work with someone on the team, and can they personally vouch for them? So if they can, I rate that a 5 out of 5, for example. But if maybe it's a step down, could be a friend of a friend knows them, right? Maybe that's a 3 out of 5. One of them is, has this person worked in the same specific industry? Right? One of them is, has this person done this exact specific role? One of them, have they done all the tasks, right? So, and then I rate these on a certain scale. So I think AI can help in the back end do that and produce like really well curated profiles. Then that way the middleman is kind of taken out, and then companies can be easily connected to employees. Because one of the hardest things about recruitment is trust. How can you trust the person? How do you trust they are who they are? And I think through AI and blockchain technology, we can democratize trust on a platform basis and kind of remove the middleman.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Like AI is the trending topic at the moment, and one question, I want to ask, you have already mentioned about the AI role in recruitment. Like, where do you see in the coming next 5 years, what AI's role will be in the talent industry?
So I think that you won't be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by someone who can use AI. This is so hard to really speak about because we're at the point in human civilization where in the beginning, it's very, very slow. Things progress really, really slowly. But then we're at the point where technology is so advanced that it's all advancing upon ourselves. So there's absolutely no way to say what specifically is going to happen. All I can do is speculate. But what I think is going to happen is that people who don't adopt AI and don't learn AI and don't know all the different tools will be replaced by people who do. That's what I see in the next 5 years. But honestly, it's so hard to tell.
It's very important, even I think for small business owners, to spend some time on learning about different AI tools, right?
Oh, 100%. And actually, before we vet any employee to come onto Talent Trellis to work with other people, I've designed this whole SOP and this whole training specifically how to get people to use AI effectively, how to get people to, because AI can do some really, really cool things. So they're fully trained on how to use them and on how to use ChatGPT more effectively and then we all give them like the, ChatGPT 4, we tell them how to use the plugins, we tell them how to use cheap GPTs, we tell them what I always do is I always try to tell them, if they come to me with a problem, they're like, okay, how can AI solve this? And then you write down the prompts. So we have this huge SOP library of prompts that we've created because as soon as you solve a problem with AI, someone else can have that prompt to resolve it. So that's one of the benefits too of working with us. All our agents have access to this huge SOP library.
Yeah. Now let's discuss about the government projects and the impact it had on any company. Working on government projects, Paul, can present unique challenges and opportunities. Could you tell us about the kind of government projects Talent Trellis is working on and the impact this have on your operations?
For sure. So I don't know if I can reveal this right now, but I think as I can because we did confirm it. So now the karma is taken away. So we actually secured a deal with the government of Pakistan because we presented to them multiple times and they were very impressed with what we do. They were impressed with very young because I don't know if you know, but in Pakistan, a lot of the businesses there are more passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
So there's not as big of entrepreneurial space. So they're really trying to encourage it now more often. So after they saw what we're doing, after they saw what they saw with the podcast and with our clients, we actually have a deal with them where we will train students in Pakistan upon all different aspects of things within our business,
With practical knowledge, right?
in practical knowledge on AI, on digital marketing, on graphic design, and then we will then find them jobs within Canada and North America.
That sounds like a very interesting project.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. And then, the government gives us a certain amount to help and train them. So we're designing this whole training program, and then we're designing a way to get people access to this talent, right? Because the talent there is absolutely amazing. The people are amazing. There's just a bit of stigma around it.
Right.
So once that's part of the reason why we're really trying to get out there, show them what's going on and take them out and have people see that, hey, like it's very similar to Canada.
Right. And Paul, how do this project that you have mentioned just now align with Talent Trellis' broader mission and values?
So one of the biggest values that we started with was that we want to give people in Pakistan the ability to work for North American companies without sacrificing their friends and their family. There's so many times where I'm just sitting at home, and I live with a couple other Pakistani friends as well, and I'm sitting at home and they're always talking on the phone. They miss them so dearly, and you know how hard it is to be away from family. So if we can help and really bridge that gap and give the students and the people there an opportunity to work with North American companies, but be there, we think that that'll increase productivity because there's something to be said about feeling warm and connected with those, and because it really spills over into your productivity. So, and then another thing that we want to do as well is we think that we always say, like, when Allah starts to bless you, you need to start blessing people back as well. So it's as soon as we get new clients, or as soon as we start to grow as well, we either donate money to charity, or we help people in schools get more education, because we think that, like, you gain to give, right? And we really, really believe that. And we think that giving, honestly, the secret to living, I think, is giving in this really weird way.
Giving is one of the best thing you can do, right?
And paradoxically, whatever you want, you should give, because when you give it in this really weird way, it's almost like this world works in cycles. There's a day, there's a night, there's a spring, there's a summer. There's, even in your own body, there's a cycle of, like, your body replaces every 7 years. So in this same way, everything is energy, everything swirls, everything comes around. So as you're giving, as you're helping it out, it's the natural cycle of things that will come back to you. Because the way I see it is, the spirit, or whatever you want to call it, God, Allah, will notice, hey, this person is helping my children, so let me bless them so he can help more. The way I like to say it is, like, the tree does not eat its own fruits.
Right.
It gives them away freely. So in the same way, I think that's one of the biggest secrets.
Reflecting on the insightful discussion about Talent Trellis engagement with government projects, let's take a moment to appreciate the broader implications of such collaborations. Government projects are not just contracts. They are opportunities to drive significant change and align with our impactful mission. Folks, whether you are leading a startup, running a seasoned enterprise, or carving out your niche in public sector work, consider how aligning with projects that reflect your core values can amplify your impact. Before we wrap up, Paul, what is your key piece of advice to anyone who want to start their venture in outsourcing, or in general, they want to embark on their entrepreneurial journey?
For sure. So if you're a business owner or a digital marketing agency, or you need a VA and you're interested in working with us, you can go ahead and apply over at talenttrellis.co, or we give you a free 30-minute consultation call. Happy to discuss everything with you. You get a free job description out of it, and we'll give you a lot of good advice and talent. So in terms of if you want to start in the outsourcing space, if you want to start an outsourcing business, find someone you trust in that country. That's the number one thing I can say for that. But in terms of entrepreneurial endeavors in general, I would say become more aware of yourself. Study yourself, explore yourself. And what I mean by that is your growth, like the world is always telling you the ways you can grow. And for me, it's when you hate someone, for example, find out why you hate that person. Because 9 out of 10 times you hate that person because they have a trait that you have that you don't accept within yourself. So once you start seeing the world this way, oh my God, I'm not accepting that part of yourself. So when you accept yourself, you heal and you become more of a person. Or if you keep getting the same relationships over and over again, you're not learning your lesson. So I would say don't specifically focus on entrepreneurship, focus on growth, and the entrepreneurship will come from the growth.
Thank you so much for sharing your advice with our listeners. And how can our listeners, like the small business owners, can reach you if they want to know more about your services or your organization?
Yeah, for sure. So you can go on to our website at talenttrellis.co. You can fill out the form there. Happy to talk to you. Or you can go ahead and message us on Instagram at talenttrellis.co. You can also follow our podcast, Talent Talks podcast, on Instagram, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We have a ton of really cool guests there. But yeah, or you can just send me an email at paul@talenttrellis.co, and we'll happy to help you out.
Thank you so much for Paul for joining us today and sharing your insights and experience with our audience.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Today's discussion reminds us of the transformative potential of strategic outsourcing and talent acquisition, not just for business growth, but for fostering global connections and opportunities. A special thank you to our partners, exclusive banking partner RBC, exclusive shipping partner UPS, and exclusive accounting software partner Xero, and our exclusive email partner Constant Contact for their unwavering support. We encourage our listeners to subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine by visiting our official website at canadiansme.ca for more inspiring content.